Theresa May was today warned she faces defeat on her flagship Brexit laws without further concessions to rebel MPs. Senior Tory Dominic Raab vowed to force through his amendment writing the need for a meaningful vote into the EU withdrawal laws tomorrow night. Amid claims there are as many as 20 Tory rebels, Mr Grieve, a former Attorney General, said he believed he had enough support to win a vote. The government has refused to take a position on Mr Grieve's amendment so far, insisting it is studying all suggestions from MPs. Defeat would be humiliating for Mrs May, who has never lost a Commons vote on legislation, and Brexiteers branded the measure an attempt to derail the bill. Ministers could yet climb down on the issue and accept the amendment. Downing Street today repeated a promise there would be a meaningful vote on Brexit deal regardless of events in the Commons tomorrow night. The government announced a U-turn yesterday to avert a possible defeat tonight on so-called Henry VA powers in the legislation. And another very tight vote is expected next Wednesday as ministers stand behind controversial plans to write the exit date into the withdrawal legislation. Mr Grieve said he was determined to force a vote on an amendment to the EU withdrawal bill unless ministers back down. With up to 20 Conservative MPs reportedly willing to support the change in the division lobbies on Wednesday, he said they could well have the votes needed to get it through. I think there are quite a few who may support me. I think enough, if this comes to a vote, to defeat the government, he told BBC Radio 4's The World at 1. I think there is a real possibility that will happen. The move threatened to wreck the fragile unity in the Conservative ranks in the wake of Mrs May's divorce deal agreement in Brussels on Friday. Conservative former leader Ian Duncan-Smith accused Mr Grieve and his supporters of grandstanding and trying to tie the government's hands in the Brexit talks. I think this is looking for ways to derail the bill, he told The World at 1. There comes a moment when really grandstanding has to stop. Tying the government's hands in the way that he would wish to tie them so early on is quite wrong. Signaling the climb down on Henry VA powers yesterday afternoon, Mrs May's spokesman said, "We have studied the Procedure Committee's report in detail and listened to the representations, and we are announcing today that we will be accepting this amendment." "We recognise the role of Parliament in scrutinising the bill, and we've said throughout that we are taking a pragmatic approach to what we've always said is a vital piece of legislation." "Where MPs and peers can improve the bill, we will work with them." Procedure Committee Chairman Charles Walker tabled new amendments on the Henry VA powers last week. The new amendment is likely to replace rebel amendments tabled by Mr Grieve and which were the focus of efforts against the government. Announcing his new amendments last week, Mr Walker said, They reflect the constructive discussions the committee has held across the House on the best way to implement its report. I think our amendments represent a sound basis for agreement on the House's role in this process, and I urge colleagues across the chamber to support them. The Procedure Committee wants a system to give the House a decisive say over how it is to debate the many technical legislative changes to be proposed as a result of this bill. Mr. Walker said his amendments would allow all necessary changes to the law to be made by exit day, while allowing Parliament the necessary scrutiny. He added, "In Wednesday's debate I shall look forward to a positive response from both dispatch boxes to the constructive suggestions we have made." I shall be looking to the government for assurances that the process is going to be managed appropriately and in a way which allows the new sifting committee to do its job properly. Liberal Democrat Brexit spokesman Tom Brake said, "This is a welcome but minor concession on an issue on which the government knew it could not carry the House."